Hi, I'm Becca Martis, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a mask. Basic mask, something that you can use as you're going out and about along your business during the pandemic. Okay? That's over your ears, nice and neatly. So the first thing you need to do is cut your fabric. I have been making a lot of masks, so I have a lot of pieces already cut out. It's a simple pattern. That's all there is to it. You need 4 pieces of this exact same pattern. As you can see, I have a lot of them. So I will take 4 of them off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set the rest aside. Please note that each of these is facing each other. So you've got the wrong side and the right side. Okay? I'm going to take 2 pieces that are facing each other. I'm going to cut 1 inch off the long side here. It doesn't have to be exact. Throw it away. Don't need it. I'm going to take the other piece, the longer piece. I'm going to immediately fold the edge over about 1/4 of an inch on either side. Take my iron, flatten it. I'm going to take each of these pieces and I'm going to sew that flat. It is not necessary to iron it. It is not necessary to pin it. If you want to pin it, you may. It's just a matter of preferences, and I don't like pins. I am moving my needle over to the right-hand side to make it easier for me to judge 1/4 of an inch. Anchor your stitch and sew it flat. Anchor your stitch again. Do the exact same thing with the other piece that you have ironed down. Take both of these pieces again. Put them together, right sides facing each other. You want to make sure that all of your edges are lined up appropriately so that they are still an exact match. Now what we're going to do is we are going to sew along this curved edge on both sets, the short set and the long set. The cotton that I'm using is a quilting cotton. It's got a tighter weave than linen or sometimes even broadcloth. It's lighter fabric, but the tighter the weave, the better it is for protection. Anchor it down, and again, we're doing approximately 1/4 of an inch. I'm not pushing the fabric. I'm letting the machine grab the fabric. I'm just guiding it along the edge. I do like my machine because it has an automatic cutter. Makes life a lot easier for me. Don't have to use my scissors as much. The reason my machine is noisier is that I'm using a walking foot, which is a quilter's foot. It simply makes sure that both sides of the fabric, both pieces of fabric are grabbed and pulled through at the same time. Makes for a more even stitch. Okay, so now I have both the short and the long piece stitched together. I'm going to take the long piece, turn it inside out, and force those stitches up so that it's a nice curve. Okay, we're going to take that curve, we're going to take the short piece, open it up, also with the curve. We're going to put those two together so that the curve is at the top here, and then it comes down. We're going to put the pieces together, right sides together, and you also want to make sure that those end seams are right on top of each other. Use your fingers to push them together if you need to. And then we are going to sew along this edge, both top and bottom, all the way across. Start at one end, anchor it. Again, you'll notice I'm not using pins. I tend to break them. Make sure that your edges are together as you're sewing. Again, about 1/4 of an inch. That's the top seam that I just did. Okay. Now I'm going to do that bottom seam. Remember, keep the right sides together. Anchor it. Okay. Now you have a pocket. Put one finger through the pocket, all the way to the other end. Grab that end, turn it inside out. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that these seams, that center seam and this edge seam, are flat. Easiest way to do that for me is to use a long knitting needle. Put that all the way up through and then guide it all along that stitched seam so that the whole thing flattens out as much as possible. And you can press it up against those seams if you need to. Okay. I'm going to iron these flat. I like to use an iron because it just makes it easier. I use an iron rather than pins. Once you iron it flat, that's just easier. Stand up a little bit. Press that flat. Okay, so I've got that one side, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Flatten that stitch out. Remember, there's a curve, so if you have to turn the fabric or curve the fabric as you're flattening it, that's okay. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten these center seams just to make it easier. Okay, now I'm going to sew all along this top curve and this bottom piece. We're just going to sew a top stitch just to make sure that it stays flat. Again, about 1/4 of an inch. Anchor it. I do sew a lot faster. Please don't panic if you can't sew that fast. I go all the way to the edges to anchor that down. And we're going to do the other side now too. Same thing. Anchor it. All right. You will notice that we've got the short end here and we have the long end here. Fold that over approximately 1 inch and we're going to sew this seam so that we're making a pocket. It doesn't have to be exact. Anchor it. Anchor it. Do the exact same thing to the other side. Fold that over about 1 inch and sew it across. This is where I actually trim everything. I wait until it's all done and then I take my little snippers and I trim all of the extra pieces of thread off. It's not worth doing earlier because some of the threads are actually going to get caught on the inside of the fabric and then you've just trimmed for no particular reason. I'm lazy. I fully admit this. Okay, the final step, there we go. The final step is adding the elastic. I got a big roll of elastic on Amazon for like $15, something like that. Huge, while ago. Glad I did, perfect timing. Okay, I cut 9 inches off for each ear. Measure that out to 9 inches, put the ruler down, fold it in half, 9 solid inches, cut, cut. I have a nifty little tool that I use. Where is it? There it is. Okay. It grips here. And then I slide this little thing down to hold it tight. Then I can take this, slide it through the pocket, and voila, it actually pulls everything through. I undo it. Now, here's the fun part. Tie it in a knot. You want this knot to be tight. So as soon as you get those two ends, hold those ends and pull the bottom tight. Okay, you want to hold the ends because otherwise, as you're pulling it tight, they might come out. Okay, and then we just slide this through so that the knot, if it cooperates, is on the inside of the pocket. Yeah, it takes a little bit of jiggling. There we go. All right, so now I have inside of the pocket. Okay, you'll do that to the other side as well so that you end up with a mask that has 2 ear pieces and you're done.